There are three different types of animal skeletal systems that you'll need to distinguish between on this week's assessment. Cnidarians, the jellyfish, the platyhelminthes, the flatworms like planaria, and the annelids like the earthworm that you see on your slide have what's called a hydrostatic skeleton. So their bodies are structurally supported by fluid-filled compartments, like the coelom in this earthworm. Humans actually use hydrostatic fluid pressure to support our tongue movement. Ultimately, though, these organisms with their hydrostatic skeletons need to live either in aquatic or moist environments, like the moist soil that this earthworm is burrowing in. You've seen what happens to the hapless earthworms that get stranded on the sidewalk on a hot Phoenix summer day. Arthropods, like this tarantula, have hardened exoskeletons made of a compound sugar called chitin. Since exoskeletons are rigid, they present some limits to growth. A true exoskeleton has to be shed or molted when the animal outgrows it. A new exoskeleton is produced under the old one. However, when the old one is shed, the new skeleton is initially soft and pliable. And so the crab or the tarantula in the lab happened a couple semesters ago appears whitish. And during this window of time before the new exoskeleton hardens, they're actually quite vulnerable to predation. Vertebrates, like you and I, have an internal endoskeleton made of mineralized bone and cartilage tissue. Humans have approximately 270 bones at birth, but by adulthood we're down to 206, as bones like the plates in our skull fuse together as we age. For Bio 182, I need you to recognize that vertebrate skeletal muscles are composed of a hierarchy of progressively smaller and smaller units. So skeletal muscles themselves are long fibers that run parallel to one another. These fibers are composed of smaller units called myofibrils, containing still smaller units, including the long, thick protein myosin and the thin filament actin. So muscle contraction is driven by the myosin and the actin sliding along each other. And then we can scale out as well. You can clearly see this hierarchy. So here is the individual muscle cell. The individual muscle cell is bundled together in groups of cells called fascicles, and the fascicles bundle together to form the skeletal muscle in this gentleman's forearm.